Could be worse.
are on.
Okay.
It gets worse.
Welcome, everybody, this evening to the Finance Committee meeting for June 27th. Members of my committee, myself, the chair, Mr. Dean Holland. Mrs. Amy May is not present this evening, so the alternate is Mrs. Cheryl Ramos will be participating with the committee. Going to go after what the mayor gave me first was 2 vehicles, which I'm going to say is proposed ordinance 13/2022. Police and fire operating police equipment of $45,000 for I'm going to take a vehicle, Mayor, correct?
Correct.
And then the fire department, equipment, another $45,000, so I'm gonna assume that's another piece of vehicle equipment. Okay? So, just a little description, Mayor, or or the safety director, whoever would you like to, just give me a little description about the vehicle.
Well,
And-
the police is replacing the chief's vehicle
Okay?
and giving his vehicle to the K-9 officer. Right now, the K-9 vehicle has 100,000 miles on it?
Okay?
The first canine
Yeah,
vehicle.
first K-9.
Now that we have 2. Yes, it's, if you listen to it when it runs,
Yeah.
it sounds like an old John Deere hay baler.
Okay,
And I mean, it would be embarrassing to have to drive the thing around town.
okay.
So what we're gonna do is the chief's vehicle that he currently has is will be converted into the K-9 vehicle, and then the chief will then get another vehicle.
Okay, then the vehicle that we're going to take out of service for the K-9 what will be done with that vehicle?
Probably auctioned off, because once again, it's not worth
Okay, so
anything.
Yeah.
it'll be,
Or it could be repurposed, for,
Yeah.
but mechanically, I think it's
Probably-
beyond its
it's
life.
beyond.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or pieces, parts.
Yeah.
okay. And then the vehicle for the fire department?
Chief, you wanna-
Chief?
It's a pickup truck to replace the fire inspector, his pickup truck. The one he has now is a 2008. It has around 100,000 miles on it, and it has a transmission problem. We've
Okay.
been looking at it along to the point it's probably better to replace it than to repair it at this point.
Okay, the vehicle that is going to be replaced, your plans for that vehicle or to dispose
You can go to
of?
auction, or if
Okay.
another city department
Okay,
they want to use it for the service department, the whole lawnmowers or
okay.
whatever.
Okay, the line items, it said the fire is coming out of 420, 4,200, 5,200, is that correct?
420?
Yes.
420.
420,
Mhm.
yeah, 5,200, and then the police is 225, 23005 5,000. Beth gave me 5,200 last meeting.
Yeah, I think it is supposed to be 5,200.
Okay, that's why I'm asking for the numbers, to make sure they're right. So it is 5,200. Okay, so we'll need to make sure we get that taken care of. Okay. Members of the committee, any questions about the vehicles? Yes.
Chief, on the pickup, are you putting a topper on it?
Yeah, it's gonna have a cap on it, just like the one that he has now. He also, we have him in a dual role, he's an investigator, he's a fire investigator now. We're developing that so he can carry his equipment to do fire investigation, cause and origin investigation as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he is the fire inspector and the investigator?
Yes.
Both, okay. Any other questions, Cheryl?
Nope.
Okay.
Not
Other
about
council
that.
Other council members? Administration? You're the lone soldier here tonight, so you have any questions? Time, well, we know we can't pass it tonight, so pass as soon as possible is what we're looking at for those two, because we can't suspend the rules. That's what we have. Would you like it the first time we can suspend the rules? Would that help? Okay, so that's what we'll do, so. Let's take, and if you don't mind, I'd rather split these as individuals, and we'll go through as far as a motion to those individual items, then we'll do the whole, or let's just wait till we do the whole for a motion in a second. Cheryl, are you good with that?
Yeah, so this is ordinance 13/2022.
Right, so we've looked at the two
Just
items.
that piece.
The two items on it so far.
Two vehicles.
If we have a problem with any of the other items, then what we'll do, we'll scratch them off the ordinance, okay? Rather than say yes to these and then get no's, let's do them all at one time and see what we have before we put them on it. Are we okay with that as a committee? Okay? The next item is meters and extensions, $72,000. Originally in that line item, 711, 3704, 5300.
I don't see any more. Is that all you have?
Okay, 711, 3704, 5300 was $260,000 was put into that, and we're asking for additional 72,000. Can we have explanation?
Did everybody receive my email?
I may have received it, my computer's up with Larry,
Oh,
so,
everybody from council received it a couple weeks ago?
Your June 15th letter.
Pardon?
It said June 15th on it.
Okay,
Your letter.
yeah.
okay. We spent last year
The
$208,781.
explanation, oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. The
Yes,
explanation is, if you look at the, and I explained that in the letter, is it was asked for, 280,000, and it was given, 260,000.
Mhm.
And if you look at the receipts that came in, that I have there, that I had sent out to council,
Okay.
it's 51,872. If you look at, the email that I sent you, it shows clearly in the last one is 331,872. So the 872 was definitely made up of these receipts, because the receipts that was short on was 51,872, which what this was after talking with Beth and Tanya, that was stuff that was meters and stuff that was left over for the year before that had POs out. She said, let's put them over into the next budget.
Okay,
And that one is crystal clear, because it's 51,872 is the receipts. And the last budget that was supposed to come out was $331,872. So it was short 20, and now we need the 52, makes the 72 number up.
okay. Beth, is that,
Yes, we didn't carry those over.
okay, just something we missed when we did our review, okay. Then I'll ask, with that, with Beth verifying that she carried money, she carried receipts over
Right.
from
Yeah.
last year and was gonna pay them this year, I understand what she needed to do. Does any of the members of the committee have any questions about that? Jim or Dan, you have any questions about that?
Not if they're rolling over from the.
Yeah, I
previous
mean,
year.
Beth explained, so she's the CEO, so I'm good with that. Any administrators? Public? Okay. So, that's good. Okay, engineering construction, 711, 3704, 5401. Let me get there. Okay. Last year was appropriated was 280,000. Expenditures were 18,850. This year, we gave $291,200 to that line item, and now it's additional 190. Could you just explain the increase there, Ron, what you need in money for?
Actually, if you look at what it got appropriated, it was 100,000 and asked for 290.
Oh, okay,
That's the
then-
190 shortfall,
Okay. Where is that 190 gonna be used?
Park Lane. Probably Park Lane. We did a job on Church Avenue. We'll do another,
Okay, well, Park
couple
Lane,
other little ones. Plus we bought pipe to try to get it ahead of jobs. But if you look at,
because Park Lane we funded, I wanna make sure, because we funded it, the money is there for Park Lane when Beth and I went through the whole list of dollars. Park Lane, 509,000 out of 477,159.23. Then 60,000 out of 713, 3903, 5401. 150,000 out of 314, 4801, 5200. ARP, which is 275, 1750 with 110,000, and then the service director out of your fund, 437, 77, 3401, 50,000 to make that money up.
see, I don't have those line items. I just know that whenever we looked at it, that was what the shortfall was out of that line item. Asked for 290, you got 100. And he has a few other projects he's gonna do, like I say, you have Church Avenue, we just did a tie-in over there, which is through Kinsey Excavating. We're gonna go down, I'm sorry.
Was those planned, Ronnie, from your budget? I'm just asking. I guess these are
Yeah.
the things I'm trying to get at, so when we do our budget, we got good numbers, then when unforeseen things come, they're easier to,
Well, it is and isn't, you know what I mean, no one has that crystal ball to say, you know what, we better get down there, because we decided to
no,
pave
no, I'm
that.
not talking, I'm talking, if this was a project was gonna be planned, I wanna make sure it's in the
It
budget.
wasn't until we
Okay.
paved, we decided to
Okay.
pave, so what we did is we worked our valves in there and a hydrant there to
Okay.
get out of Church Avenue.
Okay.
So that wasn't one on there until we decided to pave on Church Avenue, so we didn't do Second Street, but we paved on Church. So they put roughly in about 60 foot of pipe and a bunch of valves in through there.
Okay.
Tie under the
What
6
did-
inch on Second.
You said Kinsey Excavating did
Yep.
that?
Yep.
What was that money?
Boy, offhand, I don't know. I can get that for you. I can send that out to everybody.
Did we need to bid that job?
No.
So it was under 52,000?
Right.
Okay, all right. Okay. Do you know his materials, what extra materials? I know you said piping and you said, did you know what kind of money he was planning on? Or was there any other projects that have come up since appropriation?
Nothing that's come up since for paving wise, but he has replaced a lot of valves, especially, he's up on Wabash now because next year we're doing all Wabash with small cities. So he's getting out and getting valves ahead of everything to try to get there.
Okay.
Because right now, material's 27 weeks out.
Okay, could you just give an example that's a 6-inch line I'm taking up there on Wabash. What's the price of a 6-inch valve today, just so,
Boy, I'd have to get that for you.
Okay.
I'm guessing $5,500, I don't know, $4,500.
okay, could you just get those numbers? I just want them to realize, I know the price of material and stuff is outrageous, and I know that
Through the roof.
timeout, lead times are terrible right now.
Yeah,
I just
27
want
weeks.
council to realize it's important to have stock in for replacing items that are breaking down as, not to say, but that's what I did when I was superintendent. We kept extras on storage because it gets real bad at 2 a.m.
Well, right now, we're really you're trying to guess what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And what usually breaks, because 27 weeks out isn't like, you call Corn, Maine, and Roger's gonna run something down to you.
No, Roger's retired.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
That's
just
6
saying.
months.
Yeah, right, it's over 6 months.
I mean, that's why it's good to have
Talking
like
7 months.
10 valves on stock is not unusual, you know, that we used to keep on stock.
And that one ain't scratching the surface right
Yeah.
now, 10,000. That'll get you enough to fill up one room.
If you could just give a few of those prices, just
Yeah.
random, send us a list of those things and
I can do that.
what items he's planning on purchasing with that 190, because I want to, it's not I don't want to have the money, I just want to make sure it's not going to lay there and then be transferred to another line where it's
Well, I think you
indicated
gotta
before.
realize is, I can't transfer it anywhere.
No, you can request a transfer and she can move the money as you
Yeah,
request.
but I mean, that'd be done through
And we
Beth.
never know that.
Well, I think there's stuff that she does that maybe you don't know. I don't know that, but I'm just saying that
I
it's
just
nothing
don't-
like, I think that, I don't know why, I guess it's,
I just think, I want to be more transparent with where the money's going, so council understands
Yeah, I guess.
the age of our infrastructure and things that are going to be very costly down the road. And you know as well as I do, there's items that are gonna be more than what we can afford as a city that we're gonna have to ask the public to help fund that, or get grants or get loans to do those projects. You know, I just want to be upfront to the citizens, realize that our infrastructure is over 150, you know, we're pushing,
yeah, we just,
we don't have no 150-year-olds walking around here.
we just pumped 900,000 into it in water line alone last year.
Yes, so those are the things I like in the report, that
You know,
it's just so
Yeah.
that people have something to look at and can realize, you know, it is very expensive to conduct business now.
Yeah.
And just the way it is to get parts and materials is hard on a city as it is on any individual trying to fix things even in their home, you know.
I'll give you, you want valves, hydrants probably?
Just give a random,
Pipe
everyday
size.
use things. Right, what's the price of a three-quarter inch curb stop that people realize that turns their water off in their house? How much expensive those have been
I'll
from
get all that for you
10
guys.
years ago till now. I'm telling you, it's gone from $12 a piece, I'm bet they're pushing over $100 for the valve that turns off water off and on. It's that crazy, you know, with the Clean Water Act, you
Yeah,
know,
but-
that the prices have just gone hard on
Yeah.
anything that your public drinking water goes through is totally lead-free, and it just increases the cost on us as a city.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
I was shocked when they first said it's 27 weeks.
Yeah.
Started at 23, and then went to 24, and then it's 27.
Yeah.
And that, we had the Clow reps in here about a month ago, and that's the pipe, people are shocked them, and they're pushing for us, but
Yeah,
there's nothing. they
it's
can do.
hard, and I know it's hard.
They're right in our back door, you know what I mean?
Yes, Cheryl.
But yeah, I can get that stuff for you.
This question is to Beth. Do we have all the money somewhere that we can find, or we have it available for all these add-ons? I just click
There's
adding
cash
up.
balances to appropriate from, especially in water, yeah.
Okay, the total was
We have a pretty good balance of water.
384,000, all of these add-ons.
Yes,
We've got the money.
yes.
That's Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. McAvoy, when you guys are ordering these parts, is the price we're paying, is it time of PO placed or is it time of received? Especially with metal and everything else, I'm fully aware that place a PO now and in 6 months, that price goes up, you're paying what they paid for when they made it.
Yeah.
Do you see that or is it
No,
locked in?
the nice thing about us, or the city, I guess, is that we go out to bid, so they have to hold that
Mm-hmm. They have to
price.
hold- perfect.
So we go till April 1 to April 1. Now, what they did do, what Clow was wanting to do, and we just said, no way. And I may need help with this, but I think it's called a scrap. I forget, a scrap surcharge? Like, line was made out of X amount of percent of scrap, and now scrap is not there, or sitting in the yards, so they wanted to put a surcharge on us. But are we still paying the same for pipe? Yes. Are we paying the surcharge? No. Are we paying surcharge on the last $52,000 worth of stuff we had? Yes, because it was in the last year's stuff, which is fair. But the other stuff that we bid for, there was no surcharge. We said we're not paying that because you guys bid it that way.
And not trying to step on anybody's toes who's buying, I just know that's.
No, and that's a
That's
great
how it's
question.
been, and it's, just trying to press upon too, some of the reasons that I think we look at things like the vehicles and everything else, it's not the only things that are moving, it's the unseen parts that, once it's there, there's a good shot that it's not at that price any longer, so just so everyone understands the urgency, somebody buys quite a
It's
bit.
very important you understand, that's what I'm trying to say. When you don't see it, it's buried in the ground, people forget about it until it's their house and they don't have, the sewer's not working, the water doesn't come to them. Then it's very important to them. And that's why it's very important you understand these now, instead of whenever it's a panic and we're trying to expose. That's why I like the explanations, so you can ask questions and understand an area that you're not familiar with. I'm familiar with it. I knew just how he was explaining which, but he's still a search director, and I want him to explain it. It's his role now, him and his water superintendent. It's their role to run that department how it needs to be run. So I just want you to be informed, and that's what I'm pushing for, the information to be transferred to our council members. So is there any questions from the committee members about the additional $190,000? Is there any questions from any of the council members? Yes, sir.
It's kind of a little bit off base, but Ronnie, we talked about like the meters, going eventually digital and stuff. Has there been any,
We're all remote reads now.
it's all remote reads
Yep,
now? Okay.
Yep.
I knew that we were in the process of, I didn't know if
Yep.
we were all the way through the
Yep.
city yet now, or?
Yep.
Okay, good. That's all.
Okay, any administration? The public? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll get all that stuff that I'll
Okay,
send out.
yeah, just to give them informed, like I
I've
said.
got 1, 2, 3, so I got 7 things here that I'll send out.
Okay,
Price.
and this is a good time, I want to remind that August 1st, I want to ask the mayor to start preparing the budget, and I would like an explanation of projects you have planned, Mayor, a cost factor put with it, the line item it's coming out of, and put it in a spreadsheet form, not in a word process that I can't maneuver numbers and look at it and ask questions with Beth. So Beth and I can review them early, because I want to try to have the budget prepared before the first of the year. So that's my goal, and the only way we can do that is to start, I feel in August, if you can start putting it, I know there's gonna be some unforeseen things, but if we get on that roll, we'll have a better understanding, and Beth can say how the funds are coming in. If we have to jog some things around, we can do that as the time comes, so. Is that time frame good with you, Beth?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, so with that, the items on ordinance 13, 2022. Could I have a motion?
Oh, I have a question.
Proposed ordinance, excuse me.
Oh, sorry. So on this memo from Beth that Marvin's got, is it $20,000 for the park then for the track?
Yeah, it would be companion to resolution 2122,
Okay.
because it's not in that line yet.
Let's just pull that one up here.
So we
I
need to
think
appropriate.
that's already on the agenda, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't appropriate the money.
So this is to appropriate it, and this is to spend it. Or
This is
spend it, or
normal.
whatever. Okay, so the mosquito grant,
That's how much the
That's-
health department got in, and now they gotta spend that money.
okay,
They didn't get it in their original budget.
okay. All right, thank you. That's it.
So that would need to be added.
To
To
resolution, so ordinance 13, 2022, right?
Yeah, might as well, instead of doing another one.
Did we propose to put resolution 21, 2022 on the agenda last week? Or we
It was
said-
read for
Yeah.
first
It was
reading.
read for first reading, okay. All right. I just want to make sure that we did the proper in our committee before
You did.
we get out of the committee, okay. All right. Beth, was there any other financial
No.
items that it's on the agenda for tonight's meeting?
No, will you be able to add those to 13 now? the last two items.
Which two items are you talking about?
For master capital and public health, that was in that memo.
The one you sent last week? I
No,
mean,
the one
last-
was laying on the table today.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Because I asked where it came from. I didn't know where it came from, Beth, I'm sorry. Now that I've moved my papers around.
Could we get you a secretary?
Yeah, well, I used to have a good one, they retired on me. Here we go. Okay. Okay, Beth, you have on here, public health, mosquito, the $14,120.
Yep, that was the grant they got.
That's the only extra one that we've not discussed.
Right, well, and the park needs to be put in the appropriation ordinance.
What ordinance do we already have, the 20?
Add it to
says-
13, right?
You
Is
want
what
that
you
added to
wanted?
13, even though
Yes.
it's in the, okay, then let me just make sure what you want to do, because I know Marvin's not coming tonight. We have Resolution 21, 2022,
Right.
that says, see if I- okay, now the city allocates 20,000, so we pass those simultaneously?
Sure.
I mean,
I mean, I
do you
can't
need them
spend it.
both? Do you need them both to do that? Is one giving you the permission to pay the 20,000 to the city?
Well,
and
that's
the
what
other
it
one is
sounds
putting it
like
in
to
the
me.
appropriate?
Yes.
The other one's putting it in the appropriations?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need them both.
All right. I just want to make sure that we're doing what we need to
You
do.
can't spend what's not there.
Yeah, I do, I know. So with that, we'll add those two if everybody's okay with that? Okay?
Do you need a motion to add those to that?
Yep, add
ordinance?
those two at that.
Yeah, the master capital 437-770-5-5204 park for $20,000.
Yes.
That's for the track. And then a public health 2700-5-8,000 for the mosquito grant, 14,120.
Okay, that will be added to ordinance 13, 2022. Do I have a motion to add that to tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Vote?
Yes.
Cheryl, yes. Dean, yes. And I vote yes. Fire chief, I apologize very much. Could you quickly give us about your,
Yeah, absolutely. Does everyone have a copy of this? Any copy of this? Let me get Cheryl here.
I'm just
Looking
looking
like
at
you had a
it.
question about that. Everybody else have a copy?
Oh, I
of it?
saw it, yeah.
I've got the one, but not yet.
There you go.
Thanks, Tim.
Kind of dovetail on what's going on with the service director's office as far as getting supplies. Typically, we would wait until next year to propose buying another ambulance. We have 4 ambulances. One of them is a reserve. It doesn't have all the equipment in it. We just keep it where we can pull it into service if we need it. The call volume we're running, we need 3 ambulances available on the road all the time. I went to get a price on one, and I found out, like everything else, instead of taking about 120 days to 4 to 6 months to get one, now it's taking 18 to 24 months to get one because of the shortage in the chassis. So before you is the price of a new ambulance. It's exactly like the other 2 Fords that we have. What I want to do is we have a 1998, we have a 2009, we have a 2019, and we have a 2021. And I want to take the 1998 and sell it and put the 2009 in reserve and have 3 that are exactly the same. That's fantastic for efficiency of working out of them, as you can imagine. And that's what this is.
So this is for the whole thing, not just for
This
the
is the whole thing.
chassis and putting another
Exactly.
box on? Okay.
Exactly. But when you see, look down there at the bottom, it says 120 days. That is from the receipt of the chassis. So after they get the chassis, it'll be 4 months. So that's the scoop on it. Did the price go up? Yes, it did. About 15 to 20%. And that's what we're seeing across the board, unfortunately. The other downside is, the other thing in our thought process is typically before we could get a demo, we could get one, a demo, there are no demos anymore. So if we would happen to have a wreck and the vehicle couldn't be fixed, we're short. So that's what's on my mind. I mean, it's a 1998 is the reserve, and I want to put the 2009 in the reserve. And also, along the lines of that, I'm not sure what the ordinance or the resolution says, I haven't seen that, but I think he was going to put in there something about taking it out of ambulance fund
It's
715.
715 is what he has wrote in you.
In conversation with that, I would like to see if we could amend that, take it out of 715 or 420 at her discretion, because she sees the money coming in, the ambulance fund, and sometimes it's a timing thing. This is an example of the lease, that's at today's interest rates. It may be different by the time that we actually get it, because we're looking at probably not even going to, it's not going to be in this year's budget, it may not even be in next year's budget.
Okay, I can get the law director to change that, as long as Beth, you're good with that language?
Yeah, ambulance or fire equipment or a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Can I put and/or, just put and/or,
Yes.
those two line
That makes
items?
sense.
Would you, that, okay. Mayor, you good with that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have funds to pay for it outright then, rather than paying almost $12,000 in interest over a term?
No.
So there'd be a lease to buy type,
Yeah,
Yes.
be at least,
okay, all right, I have that, Sorry, you already sent that to me.
Can you pay it off early?
Yes,
one of the things that Beth and I talked about is not only pay it off early, but we also may be in a situation where we can put more money down at the time versus financing or leasing the entire amount. So that's something we'll work together on. And this company, there is absolutely no reason to pay for it in advance. The only thing that would help would be with the change in interest rate. But I can't imagine the change in interest rate is going to be that much, in the next year and a half, but who knows?
yeah.
No kidding.
You, Mayor and Auditor, you're both good with this?
So
Okay.
you have to order this, right, to get the price
Right.
and make a down payment,
Nope,
right?
We don't
A
even-
deposit or
No.
whatever?
All
Don't have
it is
to
is
make a
purchase
down
order. We
payment.
don't have to pay
Nope.
anything.
Okay.
so we can hold all our funds, so I think it's a smart thing. Looks like, this way I look at it, Cheryl, if we don't want it, we buy it and we sell it. Because nobody else is gonna have one.
Somebody else is gonna want it.
Somebody else is gonna want it. Maybe you can make a profit.
At a profit?
Yeah.
Well, when we did the
Okay.
engine, there was
In
a
that case, order it.
$15,000 discount.
I apologize for running over, but I think it's
There is a
important.
We're good.
discount for this, so
Yeah.
there's no reason to do that,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Can I have a motion to add this to the agenda to this evening?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
second.
Resolution 20.
We'll take a vote. Cheryl?
Yes.
Yes.
Dean, yes, and I vote yes also. With running out of time, there's no other items we can discuss. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Adjourn at 7:34. I apologize again, Mr. President, for the run over.
Apology accepted.
Depends on the clock.
Oh, I'm glad I got off the.
We're going by real time, 11:31.
Okay.
This meeting of New Philadelphia City Council will now come to order. Would you please rise and remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance? Father, we gather here again as the city council. We just pray that we'll ask for your guidance and direction on our decision-making here this evening. Father, we continue to pray for all our citizens in New Philadelphia. We pray for their health. We pray for their safety. We pray for our policemen, firemen, and we also had tonight, we just pray for Marvin Fate's father, Bud, who's going through some difficult health conditions. We just pray for him and his family. Father, we just pray for this weekend as we celebrate Independence Day, and it's a great time for our country. We just pray for people to be safe as they gather and party. We just ask all this in our son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Again, would like to welcome all those this evening that are watching on YouTube as we stream our council meetings. So, roll call.
Mr. Holland.
Present.
Mr. Lanzer.
Here.
Mrs. May. Mr. Pace. Mrs. Ramos.
Here.
Mr. Ricklick.
Present.
Mr. Seldenright.
Here. Let it be known that Mr. Pace and Mrs. May have excused absences for this evening. All right, everybody's had a chance to review the agenda. Do we have any additions or corrections? Mr. Rickley?
Mr. President, I ask that we add to the agenda this evening is Resolution 23, 2022, and Ordinance 13, 2022 to the agenda for first reading.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ramos, thank you. Second, any questions by administration, council? Any other additions or corrections to Mr. Popham? It's good to have you back, by the way.
Yes, and I just thought for my coming forward here today that I'd like to do an executive session this evening, reference personnel,
All right,
and that can be at the end of the meeting.
all right.
I'll make that motion.
All right, do we have a second? Mr. Selbright, all right. Any other additions to the agenda? If not, roll call.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Seldenright.
Yes.
All right, we've got the additions to the agenda approved now. We need to approve the agenda with the additions. Do I have a motion? Mr. Ricklick. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Holland, thank you. Any questions from administration or council? Roll call.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Seldenright.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our last council meeting. Is there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Seldenright, thank you. Need a second? Mrs. Ramos, thank you. Any discussion by administration, council? Roll call.
Mr. Seldenright.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Courtwright, correspondence.
To Clerk of Council, this is from Treasurer Gerber dated June 14th, 2022. This is deposits to the general account for May of 2022. To council members, this is from Mayor Day dated June 20th, 2022. This is an email and it's titled Security Meeting with the New Philadelphia City School Officials this coming Thursday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. To council and administration from Mayor Day dated June 21st, 2022. This is an email titled New Appropriations in the Police and Fire Department Budgets. To council members from Law Director Fate dated June 25th, 2022. This is an email entitled Correspondence to Council with the attachment titled Redistricting Requirements. To Councilwoman Ramos and Councilman Holland from Brian Mahaffey, a citizen of New Philadelphia, dated May 26, 2022. This is an email titled I'm concerned regarding medical marijuana. This email was replied to by Councilman Holland on June 27th. And to council and administration from Mayor Day dated June 27th, 2022. This is the mayor's report, and that concludes correspondence for this evening, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Move into our administrative reports. Up first, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, fellow administrators, and guests. Three things I want to touch on from the report I sent you earlier today, the first three things in the report. New Philadelphia's police and fire departments are working with local education officials to develop a coordinated plan to respond to school security events. First steps in the process were taken last Thursday when representatives of New Philadelphia City Schools, Buckeye Career Center, and Kent State Tuscarawas met here in council chambers with the city safety forces to share security information. all agree that there is a need for school safety drills to practice the plan, and those will be coming in the future. I sent you the photo of the new courtesy car at the airport. It's a used city police cruiser, been repurposed into that courtesy car for aviators visiting Harry Clever Field. The 2018 Ford Explorer is the second such vehicle at the airport. They can be used by pilots who have are having their aircraft serviced or have flown in for the day to tour the area. There are more planes flying into Harry Clever Field. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they have been flying because of the fixed-base operator ProAv's avionics business, and also because of the popularity of Miller's Creamery stand and Magoo's Restaurant. We have a lot of flyers that come in just to have ice cream and eat Magoo's Pizza, so it's a good thing. Just want to remind too, earlier this year, we used another used cruiser, repurposed it for use by the fire department's community outreach coordinator. The inflationary costs of materials and labor shortages have caused several potential developers of the Joy Howden property on South Broadway to delay returning requests for proposals, RFPs, to the County Economic Development and Finance Alliance, otherwise known as the Port Authority. That's what Marla Ackridge, the head of the EDFA, recently reported to me. The EDFA owns the property and is overseeing its redevelopment. Meanwhile, building demolition on the property is nearly complete. All the structures are down that needed to be demoed. The oldest building on the site, which was built in the 1880s, will remain and hopes it can be used as a key feature in the redevelopment. That concludes my report. Any questions? Thank you.
Questions for the mayor? All right, thank you, Mayor Day. All right, up next, Service Director, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to give council and the media a couple quick updates. The sidewalk replacement program, which we talked about the last meeting, we had 9 applicants. We got their letters out to those folks. So they've been coming in and dropping off their checks. Since then, we handed out 7 more packets. 3 has been returned. We graded out 2 more today and got okayed. So again, that's 12. We're working that way. Keep getting out there and telling people it's still available. I'm gonna shoot from the cuff here and say probably 13,000 is what we have now. So again, there's still plenty of money there. Get the word out to everybody. And like I said, we're gonna run it as far as we can, just so they can still meet that end date, which the deadline is. So we're gonna try to run it all summer as long as the contractors can get that work done by the deadline date. Also, I wanted to talk about paving. Newton Asphalt has went up today and they grinded 2nd Street Northwest between Fair and Ray. That's where we put the water line in. Tucson goes up tomorrow and digs out the concrete that they put in the ditch. They'll pave that Wednesday, and then they're gonna leave until Tuesday because of the first town days. So they'll clear out of town, and then when they come back, Newton's wants to go over on Orchard Avenue and a little piece of Baker there, and then he'll start on Tusk, Union, and finish up on Monroe over there, so they'll go right out of town from there. But I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of, they'll be up on 2nd Street or Wednesday paving. After that, they'll be gone until Tuesday after the holiday. They'll stick with us for the remainder of the time until they're done. So mid-July, I say they'll be done. Next meeting, I'll make sure that I update everybody with that. And any questions?
Ms. Ramos.
Thank you. The last meeting we discussed about adding curbs to the sidewalk program. Where are we at with that?
That's in my committee.
Oh, that's in your committee. Okay,
yeah.
thank you. And the other question I had was about the water main break down by
Oh, on
somewhere,
Bluebell.
yeah.
Yeah, on Bluebell.
It was on Bluebell?
Yeah, well, we call it Bluebell. It runs behind, almost like between the Verizon store and Starbucks. It blew out on Saturday and then blew out again on this morning around 11 o'clock.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was at work, but
Yeah.
when my water turned brown beside the other issue,
Yeah.
I figured, oh, well, there's a water main somewhere.
Yeah, and the same one. When they got in, they had a spool piece in, which that means you gotta cut a piece out. It's not just a clamp, so you gotta put a piece in. Well, piece is sitting good, 12 feet up the pipe, spawn another piece in. Bad pipe, bad,
So
subfloor.
that pipe there affects way up in my neighborhood.
Well, it's just because
Yeah.
it's pulling just like a hydrant, you know what I mean?
It's a water hammer is what
Yep.
is getting you,
It just goes and that just
the whole
stirs it
northwest
up.
of the town's gonna get
Just
drilled.
stirs it up, yeah.
It's just,
Everybody shares in the
If-
fun.
Yeah. But yeah, they're down there now. He was just about buttoning it up now. But yeah, it's been a few days for those guys,
yeah.
but we'll see. Yes, sir.
Yeah, right, if I just explain, that's a 12-inch line there, that's one of our largest lines, it's one of our main arteries. So a lot of people get affected when one of those size lines breaks, so yes, you're definitely gonna feel it, and it travels.
Yeah, we got calls quite a
Yeah.
few and it's,
When Ronnie was my serviceman, he used to
Go.
have to chase those all day long.
I didn't call, it was Saturday when I noticed. I was starting my white clothes.
you did?
No,
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
don't do
filling the
that.
washer and it was brown and I was like, uh-oh, I
No,
think
no,
I
don't do
checked
that.
all our stuff. And then I'm like, I'm not gonna call because it was a water main break.
Yeah, it's just that hammer goes and it's an equal opportunity.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah,
How's the project on Second Street there that we had the main collapse there a few
Oh,
weeks ago? Is that all?
great question. Right now, I met about that last Friday and met with, there was 4 people there to try to get us quotes in real quick, and they got till Friday, July 1st, by 9 a.m. So got that out, and we'll get that in, and still, right now, they're talking from the concrete, probably get those, hopefully the manholes in about 3 weeks. So, yeah, great question. So, we're working on it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, Mr. Rickman?
Is there something we can do temporary there, Ronnie, to keep those stones? I know it's tough.
Well, we probably could might need to pack some more in maybe or something.
Okay, yeah, and I know it turns right there, and that's when they turn on it, that's when it's rough. It's just, there's so many stones there, and again,
Yeah.
there's a couple businesses there, and I'm sure it's hard on them. It's just, if there's something they can do to help make it better, just
Yeah,
ask
we'll
him
put some more in
for
there.
this, those.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. McAbeer. All right, we have our safety director back with us here, Mr. Popham.
Once again, glad to be back.
We're glad to have you.
Glad to be seen.
Yeah.
Not viewed.
Not viewed, right?
In the police department on August 5th, Captain Joe Skinner is going to retire. For probably one of the first times ever, we do have a replacement waiting in the wings, and just waiting for him to leave, and we'll be able to put a new person into that position. Secondly, in the fire department, July 5th through the 7th, the chief, they'll be going to Wisconsin to do a final inspection on the new engine that's coming. And as of today, they are 255 calls ahead of last year. And that's all I have.
Any questions for the safety director? All right.
Thanks for going easy on me.
Yes.
Yeah.
First time back, wait till next time.
All right, move on to Mrs. Gundy, the auditor.
I have no report this evening,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Move on to treasurer's report. Mr. Gerber.
No report, sir.
All right. Law director, Mr. Fate, is excused this evening because of his father, so we'll move on to our board commission reports. Planning Commission, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning Commission's next meeting will be on Tuesday, August 9th at 1 p.m. here in council chambers.
All right. Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning Appeals had to hold a special meeting on June 21st at 5 p.m. on the previous Tuesday, where it's typically at, on the 14th, when the power went out in downtown. So we moved it to the 21st. So on the 21st, there was one variance requested from property address at 501 3rd Street Northwest, which was non-compliant with a corner setback in violation 1165.06 B9. 3 members here had heard the, the variance request and was granted on a 3-0 vote. That's in my report.
All right, any questions? Now we'll move on to the Airport Commission. Mr. Seldenwright.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening. We were supposed to meet
Same.
June 14th, but due to the power outage, we will be reconvening on July 12th at 6 PM in council chambers.
All right, Mitch is not here for Park Board. We'll move on to Health Board. Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. President. No formal report this evening. The Health Board will be meeting here in council chambers on July the 13th at 12 o'clock, and the public is invited.
All right. All right, move on to our council committee reports. Finance, Mr. Ricklick.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met this evening with two items we were able to get through. The first one is proposed ordinance 13-2022, additions to the appropriations for the year 2022. After some good discussion and some good input from the service director and the auditor, that was passed to be placed on the agenda this evening. The second item was Resolution 23-2022, the purchase of a new ambulance for the fire department. It also, after some good discussion, information from the fire chief and the safety director, we approved to add that to the agenda also for this evening. I just want to thank everyone for the, the input and giving the information, so we're just not looking at ordinance and not getting what we're really doing with our money. I think the citizens deserve to know what the funds are going for, and I like to, when we can explain it to them, it's easier for the press to write down so they don't have to interview us afterwards. So I do appreciate that. The meeting did adjourn late, and you did accept my apology at 7:34 PM tonight, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ricklick. All right, Public Works and Economic Development, Mr. Lanzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. Safety, Health, and Services, Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. President. No formal report this evening.
All right. Zoning and Annexation, Mrs. Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
Salary, Mr. Seldenwright.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll continue the trend here. No report.
All right, we'll skip
Trend.
Parks and Cemetery, move on to Contact and Special. Amy's not here, so we'll move on to visitors' comments. So we got one visitor here tonight.
He's been on the hot seat tonight.
Floor is now open for visitors' comments. Anyone wishing to address council should rise, state their name and address, and address all comments to the chair. Hearing none, we'll move on to council comments. Any council members have comments this evening? Yes, Mr. Ricklick.
I do. A school member lost her daughter this week. She no longer works for the City of New Philadelphia School District, but I did work close with her on a lot of different items with families. Mrs. Judy McGill, Mr. John Conkin lost their daughter last Tuesday to cancer. So,
36 years old.
yes, that young lady had a rough time, but her mother is an angel to this community. The things she has done that nobody knows, and I just want to mention their family. If you can remember in their thoughts and prayers, it'd be very giving back to someone who gave so much to our school district. And again, I feel it's just terrible. 36-year-old with a little girl no longer has her mom. So just like for everybody to think of that. But
I think they were really appreciated. There was a lot of people from New Philadelphia up
Yes,
in
they
the
did.
calling
Yeah.
hours yesterday. So.
yes, there was, and it's a sad thing. I know it's part of life, but it's still, she deserves to be mentioned. I think the passing of a child is always the worst thing any parent could do.
That's for sure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments, council? If not, we'll move into our legislative agenda. Ms. Courtwright.
Ordinance number 9, 2022, an ordinance by the council of the City of New Philadelphia, Ohio, to adopt a new section of the city's current ordinances regarding fire damaged structures and declaring an emergency, third reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council in this legislation tonight?
You can pass it.
Yes,
I move
Mr.
to
Long.
pass ordinance 9, 2022.
Do I have a second? Mr. Ricklick. Oh, Mr. Holland, second, Mr. Holland. Any discussion by the public, administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
Mr. Seldenright.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 9, 2022 has passed.
Ordinance number 11, 2022, an ordinance by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia, Ohio, to amend and correct certain specified sections of the Housing Code in Codified Ordinance 1335 due to apparent typos, wherein it appears the number 4 was improperly inserted where there should instead be the number 5, and to amend the section 1335.62 to include duties of the Housing Appeals Board under Chapter 510 of the New Philadelphia Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency, second reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? Hearing none, it would be held for our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Ordinance number 12, 2022, an ordinance by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia, Ohio, to amend Chapter 510 of the New Philadelphia Codified Ordinances regarding the Board of Nuisance Abatement Appeals and declaring an emergency, second reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? All right, hearing none, it would be held for the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Ordinance number 13, 2022, an ordinance by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia, Ohio, amending and adjusting the permanent appropriations ordinance for the year 2022 and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? All right, hearing none, it will be held for our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Resolution number 21, 2022, a resolution by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia authorizing the auditor to pay $20,000 to the New Philadelphia City School District for the refurbishing of the track at Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium and declaring an emergency, second reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? Hearing none, it will be held for third reading at our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Resolution number 22, 2022, a resolution by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia, Tuscarawas County, Ohio, authorizing and directing the Service Director to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, to purchase parcel number 25-02150-000 located at 1450 Ridge Avenue Northeast, New Philadelphia, Ohio, 44663, at a cost of $16,500, and authorizing the auditor to allocate funding for the same and declaring an emergency, second reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? Hearing none, it will be held for third reading at our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Resolution number 23, 2022, a resolution by the Council of the City of New Philadelphia, Tuscarawas County, Ohio, authorizing and directing the Safety Director to enter into an agreement with Excellence Incorporated to purchase a new ambulance and necessary equipment at a cost not to exceed $300,118.83 and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Is there any action to be taken by council on this legislation tonight? Hearing none, it will be held for a second reading at our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
That concludes legislation for this evening, Mr.
All
President.
right, thank you, Ms. Corright. This time, we'll take 2 minutes and then we'll go into executive session.
Good call. I like that.
2 minutes.
I like that.
2-minute break.
Which clock?
7:58, 8 o'clock.
You were on the clock.
Welcome back. Schultz,
You took the line right out of it.
Sergeant Schultz.
You took the line right out of it.
Okay, we back on?
All right, it's 8:07, we're back in session. Is there any unfinished or old business that needs to be brought before council this evening? Any new business that needs to be brought before council? Mr. Ricklick?
Probably not the right time, but I think they're gonna start this evening. Mosquito spraying.
Yes.
I know, I don't think anything was mentioned, just so the public knows it. That is around 8 o'clock, they said.
What area are they starting at, do you know?
Tuscarora Park, I think is what,
Yeah.
I'm sure it usually does, because ahead of the.
yeah.
ahead of the-
First
Oh,
town
first
days.
town days.
First town
Yeah.
Days.
That's what it always was, but I didn't hear.
Is that on the website, Mayor? The areas they're
Mosquitoes,
spraying in?
Under the health department
Okay,
page.
so
yeah.
the public can know where that is.
So if
That's,
we look under the health department, it has a spray schedule on there.
Yeah,
I just wanted the public to know, because I know some people with their breathing is affected by it, and you don't hear the sprayer anymore. It used to be, everybody in town knew when they were spraying where they were. Now,
True.
I do not hear the sprayer at all anymore,
Nope.
so,
And the spray is much finer than.
yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Ramos?
I had, when, on the main city page, because I went there then when I thought there was a water main break. But I found out from somebody's comment on Facebook, after pages in Facebook. Is there a way that when there's a water main break and like the mosquito spraying and stuff, it can go on the city main page? Or a note to direct to what website to go to?
Well, yeah,
Tough.
we'll look into it.
It's-
Okay.
Doing that, yeah.
It's tough
All
on the
right.
weeds.
We'll-
No other business, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Mr. All at 8:09.
He's all dude up over there.
Everybody have a great Independence Day.